Kyle Johnson, did you honestly believe that I was going to let you defame my wife? Did you think that I was going to let you tell lies with no consequences? What kind of human being are you? What kind of man are you? Marvin, we know that you went to one of Angelique's attorneys and told him that you were going to smear Angelique's name in the media if she ever stood up for Nichelle and her rights again, or if she made a petition for visitation rights again. So this is the way you do business? This is the way that you win cases? You smear people in the media, besmirch their good name, and you think that you're a great attorney?
Nichelle is a human being, and what has happened to her is wrong. One of the only things, it's not the only thing, but one of the only things that Nichelle asked me, the most important, was that she wanted to stay in her home and she wanted to work. She no longer lives in her home. She has been removed from her home by her son. She now lives in New Mexico instead of California. That is not what she wanted. You'll hear in this deposition where the ex-fiduciary conservator, who was referred to the son by a family friend, hired by the son, and appointed by the court, speaks on the same topic. Nichelle Nichols asked to stay in her home. I am not the only witness to this. She may look like a whistleblower, but she's not a whistleblower. She just tells the truth in this deposition. She states what her experience was while working with Kyle Johnson, Nichelle Nichols' son, while working with the attorney, and all of the experiences and everything that she saw. She reports it, and she reports it whole. Unfortunately, for Dr. B.J. Hawkins, she now, too, is facing punishment for telling the truth. That should tell you a lot about the corruption in the probate court in California. Dr. Hawkins walked around Nichelle's garden with Nichelle, and she said that she wanted to die in her home. Nichelle gave me away in marriage to my husband. She stood up with me as I produced my first feature film. She stood with me. She believed in me. She cared about me. The least thing that I could do for her, the smallest thing I could do for her, is keep a promise. So here I am. I continue to fight. I will continue to keep my promise to Nichelle Nichols, and I will continue to fight for her human and civil rights. She deserves them. She is a good woman, and I love her. And please, Star Trek fans, please pay attention to this case. It's more than what you're seeing. People are telling you a certain truth, but they're not telling you the whole truth. The ex-talent manager used Nichelle as an ATM, allegedly. Now the son and his team are also using her as an ATM. Allegedly. His team, his people that are working with him, people who are putting an outreach program. So here I am. I'm going to continue to fight. Please go ahead and listen to the deposition, and you can hear the truth, the whole truth, at least a heck of a lot more of it. Thank you so much.
Dr. Hawkins, can you give me a bit of a background on your profession in relation to probate and conservatorships?
Yes, I'll start with my educational background. I have a master's and PhD from University of Southern California. I have a bachelor's and master's from UCLA. I have a strong business background, including Fortune 100 experience. I also worked as a senior executive handling complex and troubled businesses, and I was a small business entrepreneur. I am a licensed professional fiduciary. I have been appointed by the courts in trust matters, special needs trusts, conservatorship, successor trustee, and I have also worked as an administrator. I've had cases that are both private cases and court supervised cases. I also testify as an expert witness in breach of fiduciary duty, conservator, and trustee malfeasance fraud.
You know, B.J. Hawkins has all the credentials to be a professional conservator. Kyle Johnson, what are your credentials to be a conservator? Nothing. Zip. Bupkis.
Do you know my client, Angelique Fawcett?
Yes, I do.
When do you remember meeting her, if at all?
I met her in Department 11 of the Stanley Mosque, a courtroom, when she appeared as a friend of the conservatee.
Did you have a conversation when you first met her at Stanley Mosque in Department 11?
I wouldn't call it a conversation. I would call it an introduction. She introduced herself. She was represented by counsel. Her counsel was familiar with me. Her counsel spoke with me afterwards, and she introduced herself as a friend of Miss Nichols.
What is your knowledge as to Angelique Fawcett's involvement in the proceedings moving forward as it pertained to the conservatee?
Ms. Fawcett had presented to the court, or her counsel had presented to the court, her desire to maintain the close friendship that she had developed over the years with Ms. Nichols. And she was especially interested in being able to visit the conservatee and to maintain that relationship, which was described in various ways as extended family, a concern for someone she considered an elder, or someone that she considered the same as you would consider a second mother.
Were you at any point required to give any opinion or testimony as to Angelique Fawcett's involvement with the conservatee?
Yes, because it was a court-ordered visitation subsequent to her counsel's presentation to the court. There was, I believe it was an order that she be allowed visitation. That visitation was a supervised visitation, and I say supervised in quote, in the sense that I was asked as a third-party neutral to be present at the time that there was supervision.
And this is the part where Kyle Johnson and his best friend, Sky Conway, tried to set me up. Kyle told me that Sky Conway would be a third-party neutral. I said no, because I had heard too much over the years about Sky Conway from different actors I knew. And I never judged Sky Conway because it is a practice of mine to not judge someone until I meet them. But in this case, it was a warning. It was one of those warnings that you listen to when one of your actors suggests it. And so I said no. And thank God I didn't use him as a third-party neutral. I used the appropriate court conservator, probate assistant.
I do not believe that the order was specific in either the time or the place. That was to be worked out and coordinated by myself and my case assistant.
At that time, did you have any reservations or concerns as to whether such visitations should be allowed with the conservatee?
No, I had no reservations, nor did I have any concerns.
No, she had no reservations or concerns.